Cassini's final transmission. The image we were never meant to see. It was supposed to be the end of an era. In September of 2017, the Cassini spacecraft completed its grand finale, plunging into the thick, crushing atmosphere of Saturn. A mission that had spanned 2 decades came to a fiery, calculated conclusion. Cassini, once launched as a humble probe from Earth, had evolved into one of the most successful deep space explorers humanity had ever constructed. It had traveled billions of kilometers, orbited Saturn for 13 years, and sent back over 600 gigabytes of data, more than 450,000 images, reshaping our understanding of the gas giant, its rings, and its enigmatic moons. The world watched with pride and reverence as Cassini met its end. It had fulfilled its purpose, scientists said. It had been a dutiful emissary of science, peering into mysteries never before touched by human eyes. We mourned its loss like that of a silent hero, a machine that had dared to approach the edge of the unknown. But what if that final plunge was not a conclusion, but a cover? What if, in its last fleeting moments, Cassini didn't just send one last image, but a message? One we weren't prepared to receive. One hidden, obscured, buried beneath telemetry marked as low priority. And what if, for years, that message sat undisturbed in NASA's vast archive, unnoticed, until now? In the final days of its mission, Cassini was commanded to perform a series of daring orbits between Saturn and its innermost rings. This narrow gap, never before explored by any spacecraft, was fraught with risk. The spacecraft would fly perilously close to the planet's atmosphere and the densest part of the ring system, slicing through cosmic debris at tens of thousands of kilometers per hour. The maneuver wasn't just a test of engineering. It was the culmination of everything the mission stood for: discovery at the edge of destruction. As it descended, Cassini collected a treasure trove of data, gravitational readings, atmospheric composition, magnetic fields, and high-resolution images of Saturn's cloud bands. Among them was a seemingly ordinary wide-angle photo of Saturn's south pole. Filed away. Unanalyzed. It was never marked important. To the human eye, the image was unremarkable. A beautiful view, yes, but nothing we hadn't seen before. And yet, 27 pixels within that image didn't match the rest. They were statistically anomalous. Out of place. Not a glitch, not an error, but something subtly structured. For years, no one noticed. Until a new kind of intelligence took a look. Fast forward to the present. In a remote laboratory dedicated to data analysis and deep learning research, a cutting-edge quantum artificial intelligence system named Aegis was undergoing training. Its task? To process thousands of archived datasets from previous space missions, not just visually but mathematically. Unlike traditional AI, Aegis wasn't just trained to identify objects. It was designed to detect structural anomalies, hidden symmetries, and buried patterns in the raw data, patterns invisible to human cognition. As a test, researchers fed Aegis the full Cassini image archive, more than 450,000 files. Most passed through the system without fanfare. But when the final South Pole image appeared, the system halted. It flagged the image instantly, not because of what it showed, but because of what it implied. Inside the highlighted portion of the photo, those 27 strange pixels, Aegis detected a distortion. Not a visual artifact, but a spatial anomaly. Something that shouldn't exist in Saturn's turbulent atmosphere. The pixels formed a non-random arrangement, a symmetrical structure hovering just above the cloud layer. The AI rendered a 3-dimensional model based on spectral data embedded within the image. The results stunned researchers. It wasn't a storm. It wasn't a vortex. It was a geometric lattice, a perfectly symmetrical, toroidal array, resembling a complex, engineered design. Something precise. Something deliberate. What's more, the structure bore mathematical similarities to non-Euclidean configurations, a type of spatial geometry theorized in advanced propulsion systems. Not natural. Not coincidental. The implications were immediate and unsettling. Aegis had not just found a pattern. It had found architecture. The AI's analysis didn't stop there. Cassini's final descent included wide-band radio and plasma readings. Among the background noise was a repeating frequency once dismissed as static, a low, pulsing signal that matched Saturn's magnetic field fluctuations. But when reanalyzed by Aegis, that signal revealed harmonic modulation, a telltale sign of an artificial source. A communication signal? An energy field? A surveillance beacon? No one could say for sure. But the signal was there, transmitted, not received. And it had been present for a long time. Cassini had orbited Saturn for over a decade, and during that entire time, this signal had been faintly echoing in the background. The object, or construct, had always been there. It had just hidden perfectly. Until now. Further investigation revealed more disturbing findings. In the last 19 seconds before Cassini lost contact, it recorded a rhythmic pulse, barely distinguishable from the electromagnetic storm that surrounded it. But when that signal was mapped onto the geometry of the structure Aegis had reconstructed, the alignment was perfect. The waveform matched the physical layout of the object, as though the signal and the structure were one and the same. The data also revealed embedded phase shifts, microfluctuations that, when decrypted, formed a fractal pattern eerily similar to signals once recorded by the Voyager probes near Jupiter decades earlier. Could these signals be related? If so, then what Cassini had discovered might not be unique to Saturn. It might be part of a vast, coordinated network, something watching the planets of our solar system. Observing. Tracking. And possibly, waiting. Then came the most compelling piece of evidence. One final frame, captured milliseconds before Cassini's systems failed, stood apart from all others. It contained a visual artifact that did not appear in any other image before or after. A sharp-edged anomaly hovering just beneath Saturn's clouds. At first, dismissed as a glitch, it refused to vanish, even when compressed, reformatted, or run through different render engines. Digital forensic experts confirmed, the object was real. Not an artifact. Not a rendering issue. Something had appeared just long enough for Cassini's camera to record it, and then it was gone. When its geometry was analyzed, it didn't align with Saturn's curvature. It didn't match natural topography. It had angles, deliberate ones. The AI reconstructed its form, and what emerged was a hexagonal outline, similar in shape, but not in location, to the famous North Pole hexagonal storm. This was on the opposite side of the planet. It was somewhere it shouldn't be. Floating, waiting. At this point, the tone of the research project shifted dramatically. The AI team, once open and enthusiastic, went silent. Updates stopped. The final anomaly image, once briefly accessible in an academic mirror server, vanished. NASA's Cassini archive was quietly altered. Mentions of the anomaly were removed from indexing logs. Researchers were reassigned. Some insiders reported being asked to sign amended non-disclosure agreements. The few screenshots that remained online were quickly labeled hoaxes or simulation bugs. But through it all, one word was never uttered by any agency or publication: debunked. They never denied the anomaly outright. They just stopped talking about it. And that silence was louder than any answer ever could be. Cassini's mission was supposed to end in glory, not mystery. But now, as this data resurfaces in private circles and underground research forums, we're forced to reconsider what the mission really achieved. Was Cassini just a scientific instrument? Or was it something more? Did it die as a researcher? Or was it silenced as a witness? This leads us to the most haunting possibility of all. Cassini was never meant to see what it saw. Or rather, it was meant to see it only when we were ready to understand. Because something was there. Something waiting in Saturn's atmosphere. Something built. Something broadcasting. And Cassini, in its final descent, may have caught a glimpse of it at the very moment its voice was extinguished. If this was just a natural phenomenon, we would have had an explanation by now. We would have seen follow-up reports. Clarifications. scientific publications. But instead, we got silence. Digital erasure. Reassigned scientists. A buried frame in a mountain of data. And a lingering question no one seems willing to answer. What did Cassini really see? On Waves Discovery, we don't just explore space, we explore truth. And sometimes, truth doesn't come with certainty. It comes wrapped in mystery, buried beneath layers of noise, hidden between the gaps of what we think we know and what we refuse to believe. So we ask you, was the final image of Cassini a natural coincidence, a quirk of data, a momentary anomaly? Or was it something else? A message? A warning? A beacon left behind for eyes that had just begun to open? Let us know what you believe in the comments. Because this time, your insight might help decode what others missed. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you want to keep uncovering the secrets that space is trying to keep from us. Because the truth isn't just out there. It's watching back.